You've heard the podcast, now read the book. A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman. The new novel by Richard Marx. Enter the mind of a contract killer who committed one of the most inexplicable crimes of the 20th century. The inside story will shock you. The News Echo says, Marx has crafted an engrossing novel that is the literary equivalent to a jigsaw puzzle. The Westchester Journal says, Richard Marx writes with confidence and conviction. The voice is world-weary but sharp, poetic but not flowery. His prose is filled with gallows humor, literary allusions, and sentences that often read like lyrics or spoken-word confessionals. A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman. Available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever fine books are sold. From Oxford Press. Greetings, friends. This is Dr. Richard Marx, and welcome to A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman, a reading of my unpublished novel, In Chapters. I hope you'll enjoy it. Chapter 44, now, Monday the 8th, TETELESTAI. I stood with her in the deserted lobby of a fancy East Side apartment building. I could feel the cold steel of the pistol as I slid it out of its holster. 4 quick ones into his heart. And I was at the door to the basement, before the mark hit the floor. I saved a round, I always do, but there was no need for a coup de grace. I guess it was $1 million per bullet. I heard the Patsy's rounds, 5 of them, hitting glass and pinging off walls, striking everything but the target. The target he couldn't have seen when he started shooting. Amateur. Only one person had seen me commit this murder most foul, and she was now a very rich woman. I walked past her on my way to the basement door in the lobby. The poisonous dwarf didn't even look at me, but she still had that sick smirk on her face. She seemed a little in shock as she stood there, watching her husband bleed out before her eyes, the crimson puddle expanding toward her feet. "It is finished," I said in a soft voice, but she gave no acknowledgment of having heard me. I think she was waiting to make sure he was dead before playing the role of the hysterical widow. The overcoat wasn't even needed, and now my main concern was ditching it. As I came out of the basement door, I frightened a small dog out for its nightly defecation. "It's okay, Toby," the owner said. "I never see anyone come out of this door," he said. "Sorry," I said hurriedly and kept walking. I had parked 3 blocks away and walked it briskly. The vile smell of the city, cars, piss, rotting garbage, filled my nostrils. Even the nice parts of town smelled like shit. I got into the car and tossed the overcoat in the trunk, with the bag containing almost $2 million. Lucky it's a very nice neighborhood, I laughed to myself. I heard police sirens in the distance, but that was nothing new. I figured the civilians would be taking tentative, cowardly steps toward the feast of the gun. I had an 18-hour drive ahead of me. It was almost 20, and I had a meds nice sleep last night, with a couple of naps during the day. I started the long drive south to Miami. I was about to enter the tunnel. I waved a final goodbye to the city that had been my home for 6 years, longer than I had ever lived in one place before. I had been cooped up on this island far too long. Roll on, Notch. I realized I was no longer a hitman, although I had enough weapons stashed in to equip a small army. I anticipated leaving everything in Miami. I dumped the coat in a trash bin in Wilmington, Delaware, the most corrupt state in the Union, and drove through the night with the radio playing the news, blasting right on through. I shut it off, but the enormity of my selfish act kept playing in my head. The entire world was in shock because of me, because of her. I am in blood, steeped in so far that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as go o'er. When I didn't think I could go any further, I stopped in Richmond and caught a couple hours' sleep, then hit the road again, getting to Miami a little after 21:45. I found Rand Centra's compound and was buzzed in. He was a short Cuban man, and we spent a few hours reminiscing about Sarge and smoking a couple of Partagas Lusitanias and sipping some Cuban rum. He had obviously been involved in activities that were way off the radar. It was fun hearing stories about Sarge, but Rand confirmed that both Sam and Frank had been killed. They were both pretty intense guys, and fairly unlikable, but still, I was sorry they didn't get away. He then gave me some great news. I told your brother Rich that you would be spending a couple of days here before going deep. He asked me to give you his address. He's someplace called Idaho Falls. I told Rand that I had a delivery coming in tomorrow evening, and described the delivery boys. My exhaustion caught up with me, and I retired to the guest house at the far end of Rand's 5-acre compound. I knew I would be safe, as the ceiling of the outer porch was painted haint blue. The next day I woke up a little after 11 and drove out to get some breakfast and hit a travel agency. I purchased a first-class ticket for Friday the 19th from New Orleans to Grand Cayman. My thinking was that maybe we could spend Christmas together. I wrote on the ticket pocket, "I wish I could tell you all the things I never knew how to say." I figured she would know who it was from. I also wrote to my brother Rich. We were the last remaining of Sarge's NAM group. Coop had been off the radar since that little stunt he pulled in Portland in 1971, and I was glad to hear Rich was still alive after 7 years of no contact. I wrote to him and gave him a brief history of the past 7 years. I told him I would contact him when I got settled. I ended with the line, "I'll invite you to our wedding, Semper Fi, Notch." Stopping at a place called Package Palace, I bought a sturdy box about the size of 2 shoe boxes combined, and some heavy packing tape. I sat in the back seat and packed up $1 million and addressed it to Gabby's house in Algiers Point. I made up an address in Youngstown, Ohio as the return address, and Francisco de Petraco as the sender. I drove up to Delray Beach and popped into the post office. The clerk told me that a 22-pound box would take a couple of weeks to get to NOLA, whereas the ticket would arrive Monday. "What's the approximate value of the package?" the pimply clerk asked me, as if it was excruciating for him to speak. "I don't know, maybe $5. It's just some old textbooks." "So you don't want insurance?" "Nope. If you can't trust the government," I laughed. The next stop was the Miami branch of Cayman National Bank. I quickly realized that I had never been in a bank before and got in the teller line. I finally reached the schoolmarm-looking teller. "How do I change the beneficiary on my bank account?" I asked. "Checking or savings?" she asked. "I'm not sure." She sighed in frustration. "Account number?" "I really don't know." "Do you have a name?" She was now mocking me, but as much as I would have loved to put her in her place, I stammered, not knowing the name Sarge had used to open the account. "Yes, of course, Joseph Neiman." She gave me a look that put her seconds away from calling security. "Yes, I see. Your guardian, a Mr. Charles Calthrop." Then she got a hypnotized look on her face. "I'm so very sorry, sir. I'll get the branch manager to assist you." She actually ran from the teller's booth over to a distinguished gentleman who adjusted his tie as she spoke to him. "Mr. Neiman, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm told you wish to change the beneficiary on your account, or rather, add one. Please, let's step into my office." As we made ourselves comfortable in his very plush office. "Is there absolutely anything I can get for you, sir?" "No, nothing at all. Is this a complicated process? I have my passport and Social Security card." "No, it's quite simple. May I ask why you've never made a withdrawal from your account?" "I've never needed to," I answered, not sure where this was going. "Are you aware of your account balance? It's quite substantial." I'm not. My stepfather established the account for me in the late 60s. Your balance is just under $20 million. The bank manager's voice quivered as he said the words. The irony of the moment hit me like I had been run over by a semi. I had killed a man for $4 million, which I had rationalized I needed to escape my life and reunite with Gabs. It was all unnecessary. Sure, his bitch wife would have found someone else to do her dirty work, but it wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't have been the final stain on my soul, that final damnation. Destiny was, as it always had been, laughing at me. Like a robot, I said, I'd like to add a beneficiary, Miss Gabriella Azura, 202 Valette Street, Algiers Point, Louisiana, 70114. I couldn't let any of this matter to me. I was excited that in 9 days I might see her again. I got back to Miami around 1830, poured myself a drink, and sat down to wait for my delivery. I was dreaming of the future and reading Petrarch and staring at the sexiest bookmark known to man when there was a knock at the door. It's Mr. Moneybags, and I've got 15 pieces of silver. It was Major, and unfortunately Minor. I never learned their full names. How was your flight? I asked. It was fine. Shit, it's hot down here, even at this time of year. Major hoisted a big brown canvas bag onto the table. Some cheap brand, unlike the Buffalo Jackson from 6 days ago. She is really happy with the job, Major informed. Happy? Does she ever even smile? Remembering her bizarre smile 2 nights prior creeped me out. She'll be smiling plenty. She's extremely rich now, said Major. Did everything fall into place? I asked, even though I didn't care. Yeah, she's been playing the grieving widow. The patsy was arrested, confessed, and everybody's been taken care of. Yeah, everybody except for us. We out a job, said Minor. Yeah, this is our last job. She's rehired the old gang. It made sense to keep them away from the recent events, Major reasoned. She did think of everything. Is security tight? I wondered. Are you kidding? She's out having dinner at some fancy Italian restaurant right now. The will's been probated and the body cremated. I was shocked. What? Already in less than 48 hours? I couldn't believe it. I told you, she's meticulous and manipulative, Major said. And out for a celebratory dinner? That's disgusting. She'd better be careful about looking too gleeful, I added. Oh, she's reveling in being the grieving widow. She's already moved her boyfriend into the apartment and is making him wear hubby's old clothes. You can account that? I unzipped the bag. Its counterpart was in the bedroom and started stacking up the bricks. Suddenly it felt like a brick, a real brick, hit me hard in the gut. I fell to the floor, bleeding into the carpet, my ears ringing. I had been shot. Minor stood over me, his gun still smoking. I had my gun in my coat pocket, but I couldn't get to it because of the way I'd landed on my arm. Minor glowered. That's what you get, motherfucker. Just like your fucking friends. They're all fucking dead. And my name ain't Minor. It's Demetrius, motherfucker. I was in agony. But if I was going out anyway... Demetrius, motherfucker. Minor, you fucked your own mother? He raised his gun, and I stared right into his diabetic eyes. I heard the report of the gun and felt a spray of sticky blood the bullet caused, then intense pain. I looked up to see Minor, missing half his head and lying on top of me. Now it was Major who held the smoking pistol. Just tying up loose ends. Now where's the other bag? Let's talk this through. We can make a deal, I said. You've been shot in the gut. You're going to die here. What deal could you make? Good point. He said my friends were dead. Who did he mean? The gun guy, your scheduler. Fuck, his place took out half the apartment building when it blew. Sorry, we also took out the people in the house, the guy and his family. She doesn't want any loose ends. I want you to know, I think you're an upstanding guy. This is nothing personal, just business. And what makes you think she'll let you get away? The pain was becoming unbearable. I have 4 million reasons to keep my mouth shut. I intend on going somewhere no one will be able to find me. I'm thinking Brazil. The smell of feces filled the air. Oh shit, is that you? No, it's your buddy here. There's a lot of shit in a big motherfucker like that, and he's pissed all over me too. Ha! Serves you right. By the way, where's your piece? It's in my jacket. I think my arm is broken, though. You're safe, you big pussy. Well, okay. I guess this is goodbye. Yeah. Hey, I know I'm in no position to ask, but can you hand me the bookmark out of that book over there? No funny business, right? I'm well past the point of funny business. It's a picture of my girl. I want that to be the last thing I see. The other 2 mils in the bedroom, right? Yes. He couldn't have known that the almost empty bag was booby-trapped to blow when it was opened. Coop and Sarge would have been proud. He picked up the book and took out the bookmark. Holy fucking shit, were you banging this broad? If it weren't for the fact that you'll be dead in about 10 seconds, I'd say you were the luckiest guy around. He looked at the bookmark again. If it wouldn't be so creepy, I'd knock one out with this after I do you. Hey, again, nothing personal, he said, handing it to me. I looked at the bookmark of my beautiful Gabriella, and my fingers twined around the medal I had worn for 18 years. An old man, St. Christopher, carrying a small child on his back. The only holiness this trinket conveyed to me was that she had given it to me. I felt the barrel of the gun against the back of my head, then no pain, just blackness. I was standing on the bank of a bewitching river. Blue skies, warm sun, and I felt a strange contentment. On the shore of the crystal blue river was a boat, and standing on the bow was a figure clad in a white robe with a white hood. The figure turned toward me. The robe was open in front, and while I couldn't see the figure's face, the color of her skin and the beautiful curves of her breasts made me almost sure it was Gabriella. She turned and beckoned to me. The dark hair spilling over her shoulders made me certain it was my beloved, even though her face was mostly hidden by the hood. "Gabby!" I yelled, but she raised a finger to her lips, silencing me. I boarded the small boat and sat, the mysterious pilot beginning to use the staff to move the boat across the almost haint-blue river. I looked overboard to see my reflection, and the face that stared back at me shocked me. I reached up and slid my hand over my left cheek. The reflection in the water did the same. That was me, maybe aged 20, but not quite. It was a Dorian Gray moment, except my face was altered, and I looked handsome as hell. Poor choice of phrasing, considering. I looked up to Gabby. Her white robe seemed to be turning gray, just as the sky was also turning gray, then black. She, or rather it, turned toward me. Gabby was gone, replaced by a creature that, if I remembered my mythology, was Anubis. He spoke in a voice that could only exist in the afterworld. "We have passed the halfway point of this river. Welcome to Necropolis, Jackal." The joke wasn't lost on me as the sky darkened and the sound of millions of souls screaming and agony filled the air. The strong odor of excrement made me want to vomit. I felt like my skin was being flayed off my entire body. I made the mistake of looking at my reflection in what now seemed to be a river of blood. Half my head was gone and one eye hung out of the socket. Major's handiwork. I tried to protect myself from the horrors confronting me by picturing Gabriella's face, but I found I couldn't remember what she looked like. An oppressively monstrous figure stood on the shore. It emanated pure evil, pure horror. This was Lucifer, not Milton's trickster Lucifer. This was the manifestation of malevolence, Satan. I thought about all the times when I could have made a deal with God, but made a deal with the devil instead. I was plunged into the river of sticky blood, its iron taste making me gag. The sight of what I was witnessing was Gigeresque, but it would have horrified them all. Giger, Bosch, Bondone, Fiesole, and Van Eyck. Nothing in their cosmology could imagine this. A hideous insect-like creature was looking right at me, judging me. "Murderer, Circle 7, Ring 1. Oh, fuck no. The biggest gamble of my life, and I came up a loser. Fuck. Hell is real. Circle 7, Dante was right. There really must be a heaven, and unfortunately, a hell below us. My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Eternal damnation, down to the vile dust from whence I sprung. So what was I to expect? It's what I earned. In the beginning of my story, I told you, you're gonna hate me when it's over. Well, do you? Don't say you weren't warned. Wait, you don't even know about the murder most foul, do you? It's the finale of my story, and the event that would make me the most hated man in the world, if they only knew. But that's been taken care of as well. My name will never be linked to one of the most horrible acts ever. As so often happens, the guilty walk free. Thank you for listening to A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman, copyright 2025, as read by me, the author, Dr. Richard Marks. A new chapter will be posted each week. A Murder Most Foul is produced and recorded at Batavia Studios in Jakarta. This podcast and A Murder Most Foul, The Life of a Hitman are solely works of fiction, and any similarities to persons living or dead are merely coincidental. The music used in this podcast is the second movement of Franz Schubert's Piano Trio in E-flat, Opus 100. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to email me at drrichardmarks@gmail.com. That's drrichardmarcs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please like and subscribe to the podcast and tell a friend. Thank you, and until next week, be more than you seem.